barbarism in Afghanistan and in Iraq, and challenging the standards of what constitutes human dignity and innocent life and innocent civilians. From us has come a new standard in the world. What was once impossible is now possible when we see the entire scope of who we've become. And so I want to congratulate the volunteers of this museum and the curators for the extraordinary exhibit. Please make sure you come here, get Brother Hagner's autograph. Don't ask me for mine. Don't mean nothing. It ain't worth nothing. His will be. And please make sure you go through the exhibit. Thank you all very much for having me.
Well, come here, man. Take a quick picture. That's hard. That's what I was looking for.
I think birthday, I was looking for mine because I was going to give it up. It's years ago, Second Baptist was the only church that had Bible school. And Frank Love and all them little teeny boys like this. And all these people are around. It's really a comical picture.
Yeah, I think I saw that picture.
Yeah, and birthday should have one of them.
Yeah, I've been trying to get into the journal.
I'm
Picture more.
surprised that they didn't go in.
I'm gonna get in there.
That's really too bad.
So another one picture we'd like to see if they can find one of Bill Burrell. Because you know he was the first
I don't know. I thought for sure I'd see his picture here.
It gotta be.
John Wade.
Yeah.
It would have been his uncle, his great uncle. John Wade's great uncle, Margaret Wade's brother. And he's a Millen, Tarzan Millen. And he left and went to New Orleans. He's one of those.
I was very impressed. I received an invitation from the museum to come today to see this African American history exhibit. African Americans and their contributions to the people of Kankakee, the early settlers. And ain't nobody walked out since you snatched me away from talking to my man. And the extraordinary contribution that they've made. I think that contribution has long since not been talked about. For the museum to recognize the historical significance of African American early settlers in Kankakee and their contributions to the south suburbs, to the region, is an important statement about how this community is moving on and how it recognizes all people's contributions. So I am just here to say hello to everyone, say hello to some new neighbors, some old friends, and participate in the opening of this exhibit. He'll be a Hall of Famer. He'll be a Hall of Famer. A lot of energy and strong as a bull. So.
Well, no, obviously, a very passionate speech involved here today. Tell me a little bit about, I guess you called it almost like a sermon, but talk about July 4th and what they've meant over the years to this country.
You want to do that again?
Summation of it.
Well, we're changing country, and there's no other government in the world that has the power to change, whose people have the power to change its government, like the American government. It's the genius of our system. It's the beauty of our system. We're not the system we used to be. We're a new system. And we keep reinventing ourselves. Our Constitution lives. It doesn't die. It's not fixed in stone. And so when looking at every July 4th objectively, and what that generation of Americans and how they celebrated July 4th, it took on different meanings. Today it takes on a very different meaning. And for future generations, it will take on yet another meaning. One of these July 4ths, we're going to have a clean environment. Right. Well, one of these July 4ths, hopefully full employment for all Americans and putting every American to work will mean something. One of these July 4ths, every American, I hope and pray, will have health care. We're no longer debating it. It's just a basic right of people. And so I don't know if it's going to be this July 4th. I don't know if the July 4th is going to be in 50 years or 150 years, but I do know that the genius of America is we are a people that are struggling to be something. We are struggling for a national identity. And We're African Americans, we're Germans, we're Irish, we're a collage of immigrants, we're former slaves, descendants of former slaves, and yet we have this American identity that we're struggling to build. It's not Mandarin, it's not Szechuan, it's not Cantonese, it's not Chinese. I'm not Chinese. You know, I don't believe you're South American. But we're trying to, but our families are trying to become something together, and that is what makes, I think, America so unique.
And you know, you talked about you got a long drive, so I'm not going to take you too much longer here. But have they determined what the redistricting is yet, or where's that in that process? How does that process work?
Mr. Madigan and Mr. Cullerton have to agree on a map and seek some input from Democratic leadership and Republican leadership on what the structure of the state should look like. I know we're losing a seat out of the seats that we have, and so there could be, and are likely to be, an odd person out. Democrats have a slight advantage in that we have control of the Illinois House, the Illinois Senate, and the governor's mansion. But I'd like to argue for a fair map. We need a fair map. This ought not be a map that imposes a party's will on another party. We need a fair map because we have to live together. There's interests upstate, there are interests downstate. There's the Voting Rights Act of 1965 that has to be respected. There's Latino interests in Mr. Gutierrez's district. There are African American interests in Mr. Rush, Davis, and my districts. And then there's, you know, the partisan advantage. And I would hope that in the debate over the partisan advantage, we would create a fair map for all Illinoisans, respecting their very different points of view, because we're a very healthy delegation in Washington, and ultimately I think we're a much stronger delegation in that diversity.
And you know, the interest in regards to the airport, how important is this redistricting going to be in terms of taking the next step forward in the airport, or will it at all?
I've been in Congress now for 16 years, and the golden egg of any economic development project for any state, any congressional district, any region, is the development of an airport. I mean, we could pave every road, but once they're paved, then what about unemployment in Kankakee? What about unemployment in Fort Heights? What about unemployment in Harvey? What about unemployment in Monee and Beecher? What about unemployment in Pembroke? These are real realities, and we have to put people to work. And so if I am fortunate enough to be selected by the people of the 2nd District to continue to represent them, I'm obviously going to argue for a golden egg. I'm not arguing for anything smaller than a golden egg. And we need jobs by the thousands, not 1 or 2 jobs, not a couple of jobs on somebody's staff, not a couple of jobs at somebody's company. We need jobs by the thousands, and only airports create them in that magnitude. So by building 1 runway and 5 gates, we create 15,000. When that airport expands, it becomes 25,000 jobs. And then when it expands, over time, it becomes 320,000 jobs to the local economy. I think Kankakee could use that.
What's the biggest obstacle right now in taking the next step?
It requires only one thing, Governor Pat Quinn's signature and leasing the land to a local airport commission that has the money to build an airport.
And right now, I doubt, obviously, they're planning, they don't have any money, correct?
They don't have any money, no plans. And
you guys, as financial, I guess, group or investors, you guys
very solid, have been thoroughly vetted by the state. Governor Quinn has vetted our development partners. Governor Quinn knows that the financial resources are there. They're everything I've said that they were there. The board of directors for S&C Lavalin and Elcor have communicated consistently with the governor of the state of Illinois, expressing their willingness to finance this project privately. 1 runway and 5 gates is somewhere between a $400 million and a $700 million initial facility. And it's a self-financing public-private partnership, so they are responsible for bringing airlines. They are responsible for the cargo operations at the airport, not local governments.
No taxpayers and things like
that. No taxpayer involvement beyond the leasing of the land, which is obviously reimbursable through lease payments. Okay?
I appreciate taking the time.
Thanks. Good to see you, sir.
A lot of the backlash that I've been understanding is almost like racially motivated. Have you been noticing any of that, or have you?
Racially motivated backlash too.
Beechers not wanting to give up their land as far as this airport goes.
This airport has nothing to do with Beecher proper. Okay. This is unincorporated land owned by the state of Illinois.
Okay.
Beecher owns no land in the airport. Neither does Piatone, neither does Monee, neither does Crete. But, you know, we're all stuck in an economic pot, about a pit together. We're all stuck in an abyss together. Now, is there anyone who's in a hole who's concerned about what color the hand is that reaches in to pull them out of the hole, or do they want to get pulled out of the hole? Does it matter that the President of the United States is black or they're white, as long as they're providing security for all Americans? So if the idea to pay for an airport is an airport that can be paid for by the private sector, that can create tens of thousands of jobs, any reaction to it other than this is a great economic idea is
Well, that's the reason I asked is if you're getting that, I would like to expose that if there's any sort of that's really what's happening. If it's not, obviously it's
No.
nothing there.
I'd like you to talk to a guy on my staff named Rick Bryant. I'm sure you probably talked to Rick before.
Actually, I'm new to news. I was in sports for 10 years. This is my first year in news. I
Fantastic.
don't know anything.
Rick can give you the history. Rick Bryant, 708.
I'm playing catch up on this.
I'm going to give you this. 708, 798,
Okay.
6000.
Yeah.
Cell number 312 505 6001.
Okay.
All right, Rick Bryant, he's my chief of staff. He works in the Homewood office.
Okay.
He's also the executive director of the Abraham Lincoln National Airport Commission. He's been with me for 16 years. He can share with you both angles that you're looking for, both the technical aspects of the airport, how it will be constructed, but he can also share with you what the politics has been. And that would be my pleasure.
Okay, and I heard
Happy
you
Mother's
speak.
Day.
Oh, thank you. I heard you speak several years with our sorority, our AKA sorority.
Okay.
And I was sitting in the back, but I recognized that voice, and I
Wow.
wanted to know who that person was because I couldn't see you. And then they told me. I said, "Oh, I've got to go and shake his hand."
thank you.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Oh, and
Thank
I
you
mean,
so much.
are articulate.
Oh,
and
thank you.
I
wish they'd have known.
appreciate that so
I'd have written a
much.
speech if they'd have told me I was going to be giving a speech, but I just decided to blow.
I'm
I
glad
drove
you did.
I drove for an hour, so I figured I'd come out here to Kankakee.
Now you know what it's like here in Kankakee.
Yeah, I'll bring my fishing pole next time. I might as well make an afternoon out of it. How are you, sir?
You come back again.
my pleasure.
Anytime, and we'll be there for you
I
to
appreciate
support
that.
you
Thank you
and
so
your
much.
airport.
Thank you so
I
much.
say
Our
in your-
airport.
Well,
It's going to be our airport. It's going to be an airport for all of us, and that's. You know, I keep reminding. You know, I want to get whatever. With Mom here on Mama's Day, I see you out. I see she got you working today, huh?
Here we go.
President of the United States, but in Illinois.